To Have and Have Not is one of Ernest Hemingway's most widely known, most celebrated novels. Most importantly, it has one of the greatest openings to a novel that you're ever going to read. It's an opening that's been copied over and over again by all sorts of forms of media, whether it be movies, television shows, video games, or even other novels. For instance, if any of you have ever played the Black Ops campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or if you've ever seen one of those southern gangster dramas where cigar smoke floats lazily up to the ceiling as a group of gangsters hangs out in the corner and then they're approached by some wayward hero or villain, well, the original version of that opening actually comes from this book. And today, we're going to break down why it's so good. In this video, we'll discuss the three most powerful aspects of Hemingway's introduction so that you can understand them, but also steal them for your own work. Because as we know, all of the best writers are thieves. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aaron. If you're new here, I'm a many times published writer. You can read a lot of my work for free. I'll put a couple of links below. On this channel, we talk about writing, we talk about literature and books, and the wisdom and also just lessons we can take from the classics. If you're interested, please subscribe. It really helps me put these videos out. And now, let's jump right into the video. So when we think about any kind of story, whether it be a novel, a short story, a film, what have you, there are three things that we think about right away. And those three things are environment, character, and conflict. Let's look at To Have and Have Not and figure out what's so amazing about this opening regarding those three essential elements of storytelling. Right here, we're on the first page, which in this novel is page 3. And let's take a moment and just look at the opening. You know how it is there early in the morning in Havana, with the bums still asleep against the walls of the buildings, before even the ice wagons come by with ice for the bars? Well, we came across the square from the dock to the Pearl of San Francisco Cafe to get coffee. There was only one beggar awake in the square, and he was getting a drink out of the fountain. But when we got inside the cafe and sat down, there were the three of them waiting for us. Let's take a moment and just look at this first paragraph because it's already doing so much. And let's look at it with regards to the three most important parts of storytelling that we mentioned before. This first paragraph does a beautiful job of getting us situated inside the environment of the story. We know that we're in Havana. We've got bums asleep against walls. Ice wagons coming around with ice for the bars. The fact that we'd see ice wagons in the street, well, this is very different from a modern reader, especially a modern reader in the United States. It helps transport us to this moment in time and to this country. Furthermore, we have a beggar drinking out of the fountain, and then we're heading towards a cafe. Immediately, within the first paragraph, we have a clear established idea of the environment. One other thing that I'll mention that isn't quite a part of my list of three, but that I just think is amazing and has to be mentioned, is how casual the tone of the narrator is. It really has us feeling like we're in cahoots with the main character, with the protagonist. You know how it is there early in the morning. And then the narrator continues. So we feel like we are a part of the story, as does the narrator. It's a really good trick, and it's one that makes the reader feel close with the main character, who we haven't quite met yet. With that being said, let's get into number 2, conflict. All right, so they've come into the bar, and they sit down opposite the three men. We sat down, and one of them came over. Well, he said, I can't do it, I told him. I'd like to do it as a favor, but I told you last night I couldn't. You can name your own price. It isn't that. I can't do it, that's all. The two others had come over and they stood there looking sad. They were nice-looking fellows, all right, and I would have liked to have done them the favor. 1,000 apiece, said the one who spoke good English. Don't make me feel bad, I told him. I tell you true, I can't do it. Afterwards, when things are changed, it would mean a good deal to you. I know it, I'm all for you, but I can't do it. All right, so we have the conflict. We're in Havana, and we're in a time period where there are ice wagons in the street. We've got three characters who are trying to convince our protagonist to do something. They're offering him a lot of money, but he seems uncomfortable with the prospect. He's refusing to do it. However, these three men, they just keep on pushing our protagonist. So the stage is set for some sort of conflict. What exactly are they asking him to do, and how hard exactly are they willing to push him to do it? Is our protagonist the kind of guy who's going to end up giving in? Will he be convinced for some reason, either by money or some other offer? Or is he going to stand his ground and refuse to do whatever is being offered to him? This is the beginning of the conflict. And even though this might seem like a relatively small conflict, our protagonist's response to this very first instance of conflict is going to set the stage for the rest of the novel. It's going to teach us a lot about who he is and a lot about what's going to be happening in his life from here forward. Speaking of which, let's talk about character. Through dialogue alone, we're about to find out a lot about this character. We're going to continue on from where we left off. I might skip a little bit. Why not? I make my living with the boat. If I lose her, I lose my living. With the money, you buy another boat. Not in jail. They must have thought I just needed to be argued into it because the one kept on. You would have $3,000 and it could mean a great deal to you later. All this will not last, you know. Listen, I said, I don't care who is the president here, but I don't carry anything to the States that can talk. You mean we would talk? One of them who hadn't spoken said. He was angry. I said anything that can talk. We'll pause there again. Our protagonist seems to be a man of principle of some kind, and he's unwilling to cross a certain boundary. In this case, that boundary is he's not going to traffic any humans. There's another line in there that tells us a lot about both character and environment. Let's take a look at it for a second. You would have $3,000 and it could mean a great deal to you later. All this will not last, you know. Listen, I said, I don't care who the president is here. So we're in a time period in Cuba where there's either about to be a revolution or there's a revolution currently happening. And so one of the points of leverage of these three men is that they believe a revolution is going to happen and they're about to be flooded with cash because they plan to be a part of the coup. Now, our protagonist doesn't seem to buy this, or whether or not he buys it, it doesn't really matter. It seems like he's seen enough of these revolutions where he doesn't really expect one to change everything. And he'd rather stick by his principle, which is he doesn't traffic humans. In no way, shape, or form is he going to do that. This is a huge problem in this point of history, especially from Cuba to Florida. And so this guy who owns a boat, well, he's in kind of a tough situation. These revolutionary groups, well, they can be very dangerous, and he doesn't want to refuse them outright. But at the same time, there's certain things he doesn't want to get involved in. We can also see here that the conversation, or the conflict rather, is elevating. One of the men is starting to get mad at our protagonist because he misunderstood him. Our protagonist tries to talk his way out of it, but the man just stays angry. There's no way that he's going to be convinced. So our protagonist is in a bit of a hairy situation. But it shows us a lot about his character, that even though there are three men in front of him and they're part of a revolutionary group and one of them is planning to get violence, at least one of them, well, our protagonist doesn't budge. He knows what's going on. He's very clear about what he's willing to do. He's not propositioning anyone, and he just wants to make a good, hardworking, honest living. That honesty and that hardworking aspect of his nature makes Harry Morgan a really great character. And the more we go along to the story, the more we learn about him and the more we root for him, even when he starts to do some things that we, might not like. So this is just the introduction to Have and Have Not. I'm planning to do a couple more videos about this book before I move on. Either way, I hope this video was helpful for whatever it is you're working on, whether it be a novel, a short story, a screenplay, what have you. Storytelling and writing techniques, well, they're pretty much the same no matter what medium you're working on. Thank you so much to the 63 of you who have already subscribed. It means so much to me that you watch the videos, and I really hope that you're learning something or getting something out of watching these. If you'd like to help the channel out, please subscribe. As always, make sure you're drinking enough water, make sure you're getting enough sleep, and you're eating well. I've been eating a little bit too much ramen recently, and my stomach's not feeling great, so I'm gonna try to eat some more salads, but we'll see how that goes. Please leave a comment if you have any comments about anything that I've said so far, about to have and have not, or if you have any book recommendations for me or ideas for any videos that I can make in the future. I'd love to hear from you below, and I will respond to every comment. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.